Well, I have to reflect the views of some of my listeners, Deputy Prime Minister, in that the events yesterday during Prime Minister's questions, and many of the political leaders say that we need informed debate and grown-up debate, and yet a little of what went on yesterday has to be described almost the stuff of the playground.
He put bills up. He's trying to con the public. We'll deliver for hard-working people.
Mr. Speaker, John Major said what we all know. We have a Prime Minister who stands up for the energy companies, not hard-pressed families. Many people face a choice this winter between heating and eating.
Now, with all the shouting...
I had to sit there,
How did you feel?
Well, look, as it happens, on the exchange yesterday, I started to just not accept either of the two propositions that appeared to be putting forward. So Ed Miliband's got this great con where he basically is trying to... He's just...
Be careful, I don't think we say con man.
Well, I can say it here, can't I?
Yeah, you can. I'm not
here,
so
you're not John Burke, are you? You're not the speaker. Look, it is a con.
Is it a con?
Of course it's a con. If you try and fix prices in the way that Ed Miliband... He must know this. I'm assuming he must know this. Prices will go up. Jobs will go down, investment will go down. It's an economically illiterate con. It's a 24-carat con. On the other hand, you appear to have this view that somehow it's all the fault of our attempt to look after the environment, which equally is not the case. So
is that a con as well?
Well, look, the so-called green levies make up less than 10% of our bills, right? Now, there's lots and lots of sort of bits and pieces to this, but I'll give you one example, okay? One of these so-called levies is called the Warm Homes Discount. It represents about 1% of the energy bills that you and I pay. That money goes towards giving this winter a cheque for £135 to 2 million households on the lowest incomes in this country, right? So when people say, oh, well, we should stop bothering about the environment, what you'd be doing if you just scrap it, if you just sort of roll it back overnight, is you'd be hitting the vulnerable hardest. And what I'm saying is, yes, of course, and this is what the Prime Minister and I will do in the coming weeks, look at all these policies to make sure that they're value for money. If we can bring them down but deliver the same objectives, let's do that. We can also, for instance, look at simply paying that £135 to those 2 million lowest incomes simply from the government, from government revenue instead of from the bills. It has to be paid for in one way or another. So there are, of course, options which we will look at and we will come up with some answers.
The green tax could be brought down a bit, Mr. Clegg.
Of course. Look,
£50?
If we can bring the bills down in any way, but still do the following: keep the lights on, help the most vulnerable and the poorest with their fuel bills, insulate people's homes so that their bills go down over time, and support our green economy and the thousands of jobs in our green economy. If we can do all of that for less, of course, I'm up for that, totally up for that. But the implication that all you need to do is overnight just turn your back on the 2 million poorest people in this country. Overnight, turn your back on the thousands of people employed in the green, renewable energy sector. Overnight, say to the future generations, well, we don't care about the kind of environment you inhabit. That's not an answer. That's an irresponsible approach to this quite complex issue.
So it's not a coalition crisis, part two?
No, listen, we have...
And you're happy to look at the idea of these taxes being cut by £50, seems to be a figure that's bouncing around.
As I say... what I care about is the ends, not the means. And the ends have got to be support green jobs, support our shift to a green, sustainable energy mix, keep the lights on, insulate people's homes, help people on low. If we can do that, either in a different way or for less with less burden on people's bills, I'm totally up. And that's what we will discuss at the top of government in the next few weeks. But all I'm saying is that what we saw yesterday was, on the one hand, the great Miliband con, and the other hand, a sort of, all we need to do is turn our back on the environment, everything will be okay. Neither are right. There is a sort of, dare I say it, a centre liberal ground balance to be struck.